Why problem persists among God's people? In the first service, I gave the story of a scientific research where in a big aquarium, those who were in the first service have listened to it, and for those of you in the second, I need to say it for the emphasis of this teaching. In that aquarium, there was a big fish and there were smaller fishes. But they discovered that this big fish was eating the smaller fishes. The big fish was coming, eat the smaller fishes, will come in, eat the smaller fishes. So in this scientific research, they now put a wall glass between the big fish and the small fishes. They put a wall glass there. So each time the big fish is swimming, he sees the small fishes and says, oh, these are food to eat. And when this big fish wants to go eat the small fish, the big fish will eat the head upon the glass wall. And it continued like that the first day, the second day, for like 30, 40 days. It was an experiment. And each time the big fish looks around and says, oh, this is a small fish, let me eat. Then he hits the head on the glass wall. Each time, and continue like that. After about 30, 40 days, the glass wall was removed. And when the glass wall was removed, the big fish and the small fish were together. And the small fish will swim close to the big fish, but the mentality of the big fish is, anytime you want to eat a small fish, you're going to eat your head. So if you don't want to eat your head, don't eat a small fish. And so the mentality remained with the big fish until the small fishes grew and became big, and the big fish did not eat them. There are times that people, they face problem, and they are used to the problem, that even when the problem is no longer there, they still believe the problem is what they are living. That's a very serious thing. It's a mental issue. It becomes psyche. So that even when the glass wall was removed, the big fish, in fact, a small fish will swim close to the mouth of the big fish, but he has registered in his mind, don't try, because you will hit your head. And that is one of the challenges. Why do people, Christians particularly, why do they stay so long in problems? So when you look at an example of the nation of Israel, they stayed, instead of 40 days, they spent 40 years in problem. Why did they have such problem? I have 5 reasons that I will teach, not just today. These 5 points, maybe I take 1 point per Sunday. I teach in the second service for the next 4, 5 or something Sundays. So the first problem I'm going to look at, let's look at the story from Numbers chapter 13, from verse 17. I look at number 13, 17 to 25, then I look at 31 to 33. Numbers 13, 17. He said, and Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan. The land of Canaan is the land the Lord has given to the children of Israel. And God has said, that land is a very fertile land, it's a very rich land, it's a land that flows with milk and honey. And God has blessed that land and kept and preserved that land for them. And now he swore to Abraham over 400 years ago and said, the land where you are a stranger, that land I will give to you to be your inheritance. Not to you alone, but to your seed that will come through you. So that land will be for you as an inheritance forever. It's a land that when you plant, so many harvests will come. And it was a blessing of God. And now the children of Israel were about to come into the inheritance that God swore to them, the promise of the Father that was about to come to them. And so because they were coming in there, Moses was eager and said, look, God has given us a promise. Can we have an idea? Can we have an imagination? Can we have a picture of what God wants to do? So Numbers 13 from verse 17. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan and said unto them, get you up this way southward and go up into the mountain. Yes, verse 18. And see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein in the land, whether those people are strong or weak, either they are few or many. Yes. And what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. Moses was saying, let's have an idea that we can plan with. And what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not, and be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. Verse 21, I'm reading up to 25. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rehob, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south and came unto Hebron, where Haman, Sheshai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt, yes. And they came into the brook of Eshcol and cut down and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grape, and they bear it between two upon a staff, and they brought of the pomegranate and of the figs, the fruit of the land. The place was called the brook of Escol because of the cluster of grape which the children of Israel cut down from thence. Yes, verse 25. And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. Very interesting. They went to search the land and they got fruit. The fruit of the land was so heavy and so big that one person cannot carry one. Two people need to carry the fruit. It's a very fertile land, very rich land. God is gracious. God is good. They were to come into the land they didn't sow, they didn't deserve, just by virtue of covenant and the promise of God. Then let's go to verse 35. Let's go to verse 35. No, sorry, it's verse 31 rather. 31. Verse 31. Numbers 13. But the men that went up, they went to search. But the men that went up with him said, we are not able to go against the people. Why? Because they are stronger than we are. Is that not what the guy said? Okay, who is stronger between this brother and this brother? No, I didn't say who is taller. They have the same frame, but who is stronger? Brother Adeoye or Brother Israel? Okay, because of his beard. His beard is longer than the other person's beard. Eh? Who is stronger between them? You don't know until they fight. Right? They say, if you fight, you want to know the one who is stronger. Okay, now the children of Israel did not fight those people, but they knew they were stronger. How did they know? Their view, their perspective, their belief. Have you seen tiny guys beating a huge guy? You've seen one? That's serious. I hope not to tell you. Have you seen wives who beat the husband and sat on his head? Don't tell us where you saw that one. I've seen a woman beat the husband is running and say, please help me. They say, from what? He said, my wife. What's up? He said he wants to kill. And that woman slim like this. So I asked, are you from this earth? He said, one in, if not, let's not go there. Let's go to another. Okay. And those guys, they said, we went up with him, but the men that went up with him said, we are not able to go against these people, for they are stronger. They didn't fight each other. They didn't accuse each other. They didn't point hand to each other. How did they come? Clue, there verse 32, look at it. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they have searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land of which we have gone to search is the land that eats up all the inhabitants thereof. If they tell you a land eats the inhabitants, what does it mean? The people that dwells there, they just die. Is that not? But they met people who are stronger than them, and yet the land eats the inhabitants. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? If you say a land eats the people that live there, then all the people that should be there should be weak people, because the land has been eating up the strong people. If truly the land eats up the inhabitants, then you shouldn't have people who are strong. Is that true? And the land eats up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. Men of great stature in a land that eats the inhabitants. Look at verse 34 and 33. And there we saw the giant, the son of Anak, which come of the giant, and we were in our own sights as grasshoppers. And so we were in their sights. They saw themselves. They also helped the enemies see them. They say, even them, we know how they were looking at us. Let's go. Verse 34. I'm rounding off at 35. 33, okay, no. And there we saw the giant, the son of which come of the giant, and we were in our own sight as grasshopper, and so we were in their sight. Now, these are the children of Israel. If you read the next chapter, God got angry with them and said, now you won't come into that land. Why? I discovered there were 5 reasons why these guys stayed longer in their problem than expected. The problem would have come even if they were righteous. The problem did not come because they were unrighteous. No. I told you in the morning in the first service, problems are not proof that you offended God. No. They asked Jesus, Who did this guy offend that he was born blind? He said he didn't offend anybody. It is for the glory of God. So problems does not mean you are sinning against God. It does not mean. If they were 100% righteous, they would still have problems. But they stayed longer than necessary. I discovered that number one was because they conformed to the problem rather than transform the problem. They conformed to the situation. They conformed to the circumstances. They conformed to the challenges. They conformed to the problems in Egypt. They conformed to the lifestyle in Egypt. So when they left Egypt, Egypt didn't leave them. The way they conformed to it affected their life after Egypt. Egypt was meant to be the land of problems from them, the land of oppression, the land where they were tormented, the land where they were not given freedom. But now they've left the problem, but even though the glass wall has been removed, the big fish still believe, if I want to eat this small fish, I will bang my head on something. The problem was no longer there. Egypt, the tax master, were no longer there. Pharaoh is no longer there. The Pharaoh is dead. The great-grandmother that you are afraid of is now late, but you still have the problem. The economy that you say is COVID-19. COVID-19 is gone, you still have the problem. So why is it that even when the glass wall was removed, the big fish still has a mentality that eating the small fish is going to give me headache? So they left the tax master. Pharaoh was no longer there, but the problem was still there. He still could not come into rest because they conform. What did they conform to? That's number one. There are 5 things, but I'm talking about number 1 today. Maybe next Sunday I'll talk about. They conform to a life of Egypt. In Egypt, there was a way they saw things. They see things not the way they should see it in Canaan. Because you must understand the difference between your journey in Egypt and your journey in Canaan. When you were under the tax master and when now God has given you liberty in Christ. When the enemy had you captive and now that you come to the knowledge of the truth. And if you come to your Canaan with the mindset of Egypt, you are going to turn Canaan to become Egypt. And you are not likely to even leave the problem of Egypt. When God took them out of Egypt, it was because there was a promise of God over their life and he needed a new life for their life, but they've been conformed. So Romans chapter 12 said, do not be conformed, but be ye transformed. Because what you are conformed to is what will manifest. So if you are conformed to this part of life, even if God takes you to another life, you will still manifest the life that God took you from. They were from something into something, but what they were from still came with them into what they were into. So there was no difference between where they were coming from and where God has taken them to, because they were conformed. One of the things they were conformed to is the way they see things. Number 1, they saw themselves as slaves. That's the problem. So when they came into Canaan, about approaching Canaan, the slave's mentality was still with them. Who is a slave? A slave is somebody who needs to be told what must be done. So they say, Sister Kenny, what happened? Nothing is nobody told me anything. It's a slave mentality. They say, my dear, you didn't cook today. I was waiting for you to tell me what to cook. It's slave mentality. They say, what happened to your business? I want pastor to finish praying to tell me how to. It's a slave mentality. A slave does not have a mind of his own. If you don't tell a slave what to do, the slave does not know what to do. The problem is putting slaves as leaders. They have no innovation. They have no creativities. They can't bring new ideas. They can't bring solution to anything. It is what you tell a slave to do, that's what he will do. If you say, when this problem comes, why did you do this? He say, I didn't know what to do. And it's not a problem because a slave does not always have their mind. When you don't tell a slave to do something, they can't do it. The problem is that in our country today, we have slaves as teachers in classrooms. So beyond teaching our students mathematics, they also pass on the spirit of slavery into them. Because life and death are in the tongue. Those who love it, they eat the fruit. So they speak and there is life in what they say. Because their mindset is of the mindset of a slave. I'm here. They say I should teach mathematics from 9 to 10. And once I finish, that's what they say I should teach. The syllabus say this is this. And once I do that one, they can't create anything. They are not innovative. They are not creative. They have no new ideas. So they will make them manager of a business. You waste the business. Because as a new dispensation is coming, as marketing strategy shift, as ideas should come, they don't know. They just say I should sell this thing and they put price. And but you could do this one, you could do this one. No, they didn't tell me to do. It's a slave. So they lasted long in their problems because they saw themselves slaves. And how you see yourself determines how you will see things around you. Even when opportunities come for a slave, he does not consider it as an opportunity. He sees the opportunity as a scam. When a slave sees anybody, he's afraid. A slave is afraid to even talk to dignitaries. He believes everybody wants to use him. If you tell a slave and say, sister, we need you to come early in the morning to clean this place, he say, who is your servant? He's a slave talking like that. Because every opportunity to serve is slavery for them. Because they see themselves as slaves. So even when you encourage them to serve the Lord, they think you want to turn them slaves. Because in the first instance, they are slaves. So their reasoning is like slaves. Their talk is like slave. See, if they didn't tell us, what did Madame Comfort say we should do today now? He said, anything she said we'll do. Slaves. Would you like to talk to Madam Comfort? Madam, this idea is good, but I also think we can do this one. No, don't talk. You even see somebody wants to talk. Don't talk. Anything they say, just follow. Slaves. I hope you don't have one around you. So the challenge with the children of Israel is that they saw themselves as slaves. They have no mind. They can't think. They are not creative. They don't think about solving problems. They didn't think about creating solutions. They say, who said we should do this one? They say the pastor said so. If they say so, that's all. Slaves. Can you talk to the pastor and say, Pastor, Alant, you said we should not do this? Yes, I said so. So I'm thinking that maybe if we do this one, I didn't see it that way. But slaves, what they want we should do, that's a slave. So when they are gone, we can replace. Because they're slaves. They don't question status quo. Is this how it is done? He said, yes. They will say, let's keep doing it. Why is rehearsal this day? The choir court said, Saturday. What is your own business? Just come. He's a slave. Why not say, sir, I'm thinking that our rehearsal will be better if we do it this way, if we do it that way, if we do it this way. That is a leader talking. But they are conformed to a lifestyle. The Egyptians were their tax masters. So the tax master tells them what they do. They don't need to think of what to do. They wake up not knowing. A slave does not even have a to-do list, does not have a vision, does not have a plan. They say, so, Sister Flora, what is happening today? I don't know anything your God say. Is that your life? You don't have a plan? There is no goal for the month? Which book are you reading for the month? You say, which book are we to read? When anything your God say we should do, we do. It's a slave mentality. You just need to be told. Your time is before you without a schedule. You don't have a plan. You don't have a goal. You are only told, you are only instructed, and even when you are told, you don't know how to modify. You don't know when to be innovative about it. You don't know when to be a value, an asset. That when your boss is speaking in this direction, and you've got to do further research and say, sir, I've listened to you, what you said, but I think we will get more benefit if we do it this other way instead of this way. And the boss said, really, I didn't know about that. And what if you tell him and refuse? Keep telling him. One day he will know the value, the difference between what he wants to do and the suggestion you are doing. Because you are not a slave. So the problem with the Israelites was that they came to Canaan with a mindset of Egypt. They saw themselves. They have not their own mind. They can't think of their own. They can reason of their own. They can do anything. Number two, I'm still talking on there are 5 things. I'm still picking on conforming. I'm still picking on that Next week, Sunday, I'll speak another thing. They saw themselves as small. Why they stayed so long? In problem. It's because they saw themselves as small. When I say small, I'm not talking in stature, in their mind. So when they, and one thing with anybody that sees himself as small, everything is bigger than him. They say, brother, there is land in Akko. The man wants to sell it. He's desperately in need of money. Where did he say the land? They say, Akko. I said, don't worry, don't worry. Why? He's small in himself. They say, you've not even listened to the price. He said, what will I do about the price? Don't worry. He's small to himself. When a small person makes a prayer request, his prayer is a small thing. Oh Lord, if you can bless me and my house to build even a room, and even if it is a self-contained this year, a small person. He's talking to the God who created the heaven and the earth in 6 days and say, if I can build a self-contained this year, I will thank you, Lord. You know I will thank you. His request is small. Why? He's a small person. It's a different thing if you are talking to a colleague, a man like you, and say, anything you can do for me, let me build one room. You know his effort of a man is a man. But you are talking to God. I say, Lord, this Okada is giving me serious headache. My neighbor who bought his own third hand said he wants to sell. If you can help me, Lord. Small man. And when the third hand now says you have to be paid instrumentally, it comes that the pastor should pour oil. The God that brought a brand new car to one person is the same person that gives a third hand Okada to the person who is small that asks. Oh Lord, help me so that I will not owe my landlord this year. You are a small man. Who are you asking for rent? Man or God? The same faith that will bring the rent, that same faith can build an estate. But the Israelites were small. And when you see small people, every problem is bigger than them. If you say bread is 1,005, they can shout, hey! They say, brother, what happened? They say, can't you hear bread is 1,500? Anything is big to a small person. If you say, the horn of my car is giving me problem, they said it's 75,000. Hey! 75,000 for horn alone. It's a small mind. You want to eat banana and they say it's 2,005. You almost fought. The fight was more than 3,000 fights. How will you say 3,000? This small thing. The last time I went to Gosa, I calm down. If you can't afford it, simple. Why shout? Small people. Eat the 3,000. Since you can't buy the banana, eat the money. So they are selling meat. Something. They say, wait till 8 p.m. They say, why? They say, that time the meat, they don't want to return it home. Let's go and buy that one. Small mind. And when you bring small people to big things, even when you say, well, let's go and talk to the DG, you say, who do you say we should talk to? DG. No, sir. No. I can't go. He's a human. You are talking to a human being. They are afraid to even stand before dignitaries. God said, children of Israel, I want to relate with you. Come. They say, who? Let Moses be talking to you. Let Moses come and talk to us. We can't talk to you. There are some of you who can't talk before the DG of your office. And when you say, what is happening? No, sorry, sir. It's a mistake, sir. The thing you wanted to say, sir, you couldn't say. You are small. Walk to your DG's office. Anything? What happened? I said, let me congratulate you, sir, on your appointment. I've come to greet you. My name is Grace Obembe. I work in social department. Is there any other thing? No, not just to greet you. That's all. Yeah, you are not small. You are bold. There is a dimension of destiny that if you are not bold, you can't fulfill. You must be able to look at the Senate president and shake his hand. How are you doing? I listened to you yesterday. Yeah. Send him a chat on Instagram. Hello, Senate president. I think you should have. Don't be you. Jesus Christ. You need that confidence. That when you walk to the secretary's office, it's your boss inside. You say, who are you talking? I mean your boss. The way you spoke, the person itself is scared. He wants to know who you are. He said, please, who are you? Tell your boss, Femi wants to see you. Please, can you tell me? Will you tell him first? But, yes, sir. I don't know if I can see your guy, sir. He said, your guy's busy. Will you go out? I'm sorry, sir. You are small. Years back, I was traveling to Lagos or so, and I got into the VIP lounge of the airport, and somebody said, can I meet you? I said, what does that do for you? He said, because this place is for VIP. I said, I'm one of them. He said, I don't know you. He said, you will know me soon. Get me green tea first. Do you have honey? That was the last question. Yeah. Because in the VIP lounge, we have House of Reps, speakers, and everything, and I went, I said, who is VIP? So I went to sit there, and the guy felt like, I've not been seeing this guy on TV. He's here. He said, can I know you? What will knowing me do for you? Because this place is VIP. I said, I'm one. Please, what do you say? Who do you say you are? Do you have green tea there? Get me green tea. Put on it there. That'll be fine for me. So you can go. And he said, please, you will need to pay for the green tea. I said, that's not a problem. You need to stop being small. And because they were small, every problem is big. When they say there's this one, hey, they say, what happened? There's this thing, they just called me. Every problem is small when you see yourself the way God wants you to see it. No problem is big. They said, so person is calling you. Go and see him. Who they say, Alanti sent for me, sir. With confidence in boldness. They said, why did you do this one? This one, oh, sorry about that. It was a mistake. Can I correct it and return it back to you? In a calm way. Not with any fear. If nobody who did not create you cannot eliminate you. What will he do for you? If he sack you, God will employ you. But make sure you are doing the right thing. Don't do the wrong thing. If they sack me, if they sack you, you'll be. I have some gari at home I will bring for you. And I won't be drinking out of the gari. But do the right thing, but be bold. Don't be small. Because small people see everything greater than them. The children of Israel, they saw the people that were afraid of them, they saw them greater. Those enemies, those people they were going to possess their land, they built a strong wall because of what they had God has done for Israel. They were scared. They say, hey, see how God delivered Israel from Egypt. A powerful Pharaoh. God delivered. The fear of what God has done made them build walls and say, look, we need to be careful. And the people that were afraid of them, they got there and they were afraid of, because the mindset they left Egypt with was a mindset of a small person. So every challenge around them was small. So the small people see themselves small. They believe problems are bigger than them. At times they see blessing as too much for them. If you give them money, they say, this is too much. How will I alone take this kind of money? They are small people. It's a mindset of Egypt. They see little vision about themselves and their future. If you ask them, what do you think God should do for you? The only thing they can see is an immediate provision. They are small, even in their forecasts for their own life. They believe. Their belief and expectation of God is also small. What they want God to do for them is small. Do not expect God to do so much. That's why I tell people, there are times you need to deliberately just, when you are less busy, maybe on a Saturday, take Uber and go to Asoko. Go to the governor's lodge there. Many governors have houses in Asoko. Ask any gate man there, do you have an idea of any house they want to sell here? You've not finished paying your rental. But then you are building your mind. You say, no, they are not, but I learned there's one over there that they want to sell. Okay, how much did they call it?